Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make and add a waterfall to your terrarium. And this is a fun project, and it's adding a waterfall, a real waterfall with real water. It's really actually kind of neat, and it's not that hard to do. I'll walk you through all the steps of how to custom make one. And first let me show you what I have here. What you're going to need, of course, is some kind of a waterfall pump, some kind of a pump that pumps water. And I have a few different ones here that I can show you. I have this one, which is kind of a heavy-duty one, and it pumps a lot of water. I have this smaller one here, which is really neat. And I have this, and I actually bought this at a dollar store for, well, it cost me $5, and it has a little water pump in it, and it is a waterfall. We're not actually going to use that, but I'm going to take the pump and all the accessories right out of it and then use that in our terrarium. A couple of things you want to think about is when you're doing this is, of course, the size of your terrarium is going to make a big difference. So if you have only a small terrarium, naturally your small water pump will be fine, even a battery operated one. If you have a bigger terrarium, like, you know, a 10-gallon or a 20-gallon, something like that, you may want to go with a larger pump. And you can also get those, you can often get those at like aquarium stores, places that stock aquarium supplies. Well, when you're selecting pumps, let me talk about selecting pumps first. These pumps all have an adjustment on them to adjust the flow of water. This one has one on the bottom here. This one does too. And if you can, this ring here adjusts to get different volume of flow. Now that could be important. That way when you set it up and you get the waterfall actually flowing, you can adjust the flow of water coming out of it. You don't want too much, too little. You want to be able to adjust it so it's just right for your terrarium. So that's an important thing. Another thing to do is, before you actually start building it and installing the pump in your little waterfall, you should test the pump, make sure it works, and you should test how high that the water is actually going to be lifted from that water pump. For instance, if you have a bin at the bottom of the waterfall that you're going to draw water out of, and the waterfall is a foot high, the pump has to actually lift water a foot. So you want to test that. Bring the hose up to a foot. Make sure it actually has enough strength to pump the water up that high, because it will make a difference. You'll get to a certain height and the pump will not pump water any higher than that. So that's a couple of things to look for. Test your pump to see how high it'll pump water, and then you can design your waterfall around that. What you can see here is that I'm starting to build out the base of the terrarium waterfall. And what I did is I just cut a plastic container down to a little bit deeper than the motor. And then I cut out myself some foam, and that's going to be the base of it. And then we can put this right in here. We'll have that right in the water, and this will be where the waterfall comes out here. So you also have to take a look at your hose and see how high you want to put it, so I get an idea of how high I want to build this waterfall. So from here, I'll just continue to add pieces, make it a little bit bigger to get the waterfall effect, and glue it all together, and I'll show you more, and I'll give you some more specifics. You have to have an opening for the water to return back into here, and you have to have it open in the back so you can put water in it. And this one, the way I've laid this out is it's going to sit in the corner of a terrarium. I don't know if you can see that. So this can go right in the corner of a terrarium. But you could also do it, you know, so it's be along the side, or you could even make it circular if you wanted to put it right in the middle of your terrarium. So I'll continue to do that, and I'll show you some more. Okay, that waterfall's starting to take shape. The water's going to come out here and go down and go down. And see, I just piled up and glued together with hot glue gun the various layers. And I've got the hose and the pump in there, see? Simple as that. So now the next thing to do is, after once you've got a basic structure built, is start to carve it. Carve out the bays, the lagoons, and carve it into some nice shapes. Okay, I've finished the sculpting of the waterfall, and it came out pretty good. Just a couple of levels there, and make sure you put a hole in the bottom one so water can return into your basin. And once you've got it all sculpted like that, use glue or your hot glue gun, and make sure all the cracks and everything are sealed up really well. You don't want, of course, you don't want it to leak, so it has to be waterproof. Now from here, you got a couple of options. You can go ahead and paint it with a paint that isn't water soluble. You know, use a waterproof paint, like some kind of enamel, or you can paint it with water-soluble paints and then coat it with some kind of a spray-on sealant. And then I'll show it to you. Oh, I also have to, and I'll show you, there's a couple of more things I have to do here. I have to mount a little, in the case of this one, I'm using a battery operated, I have to mount the little, I'm going to mount the little battery panel on the back. It takes a couple of AA batteries and the little switch so it can be turned on and off. So if you have a battery panel like that, you know, make provisions for that. I should have mentioned that earlier. Make provisions to put your little battery panel on there somewhere, somehow. If you wanted, you could even run a long wire right out of your terrarium. So I'll continue working on this and see if I showed you. See, we can pour the water in the back. Hose comes up and sticks out the front. And I know, you know, well, actually, what you should do is after you get this stage, you should test it and run it, and check for leaks and check for any changes you need to make in the waterfall. You may have to adjust it somehow, make the little gaps bigger or something so the water flows correctly. Alright, so I'm testing the waterfall, see if there's any things I have to change, and it looks like I might have to change a little bit, maybe. No, maybe not. I think I want to make this a little deeper because I'm close to the top there. Another thing to think about is the size of these gaps, these openings in the hole, and it will make a difference in how fast the water flows. So, you know, start out with small openings and then open them up just slightly as you need to. Okay, I painted it using a variety of blacks and grays, a little bit of white, and it looks great. And once it dries, I will spray seal it with a sealant so it's waterproof and the paint doesn't run. And then I will actually apply some terrain features to it, some little bushes and some grass and stuff. Be kind of cool. Terrarium waterfall is almost done, and what I've done is typical diorama making techniques. Added some textures, greens, did a little bit of green painting, added some very small bushes here, and I'm going to be adding a tree, which makes this thing look terrific. I'll be gluing that in, and then we'll start it up and run it. So it came out pretty cool. Thanks for watching, and lots of stuff on my website at www.stormthecastle.com. I got a lot of terrarium making stuff, I got diorama making stuff, all kinds of fun projects.